Hi, it's Mine Crypto here. I hope we're having a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world.
Remember, this isn't financial advice. Always do your own research.
Mine Crypto here, and today we're talking about Quant, and we're going to talk about FOMO. When will FOMO kick in? I think it's coming. And first and foremost, we look at the crypto bubbles, currently ranked at 39. We are at $102, market cap of 1.23 billion, and 24-hour volume of 11.71 million. We are down 1.1 in the hour, down 0.8 in the day. We are up 0.7 in the week, and down 3.6 in the month. And this is quite normal. This whole red in the market, it's a Sunday. So I saw this wonderful tweet from Clocky, and it's something that I resonate with because a lot of people seem to be getting very upset about CBDCs and what's happening with CBDCs and how they hate them and all the rest. But it is what it is. You know, you either go with the flow and enjoy the journey, or you kick and scream being dragged along. I know what I'd rather be doing. I'd rather be there getting my share when things do eventually kick off. And that's almost a very stoic scenario. Instead of being dragged along, we accept what's happening and there's no getting away from it. And I think this is a sentiment from this particular feed from Clocky. I've seen this going around lately from multiple creators on here, but they are right. Quant Network is building the future right in front of our eyes. They are actively working on finding new partnerships, both that are outside of crypto and within crypto. Quant also building with CBDCs, but that's not the only thing they're currently working on. Most people don't want central bank digital currencies, but that probably will be the norm in 10 years. But for things to flow more easily, that's the next step, to go digital, which is our currency of our money. But the downside is that everything will be tracked and monitored, stored on networks, which I assume most people here are using debit cards, credit cards now, so that they're already tracking way more than 70% of all transactions. The best thing I see Quant doing, and that's interoperability, will be one of the main things they bring to the table. It's literally creating a web for all blockchains in one seamless network. Better yet, connections. I'm here, and so does many here want to ride the wave up to capture some of that market share. And you have to look past what you dislike and look at the overall company, the effort they are putting in every day to make it a better market now. Web 2 merge to Web 3. And he's quite right, because you can either, like I said before, kick and scream, being dragged along like a dog and not enjoying the journey, or you can accept the path, the journey of where things are heading and get on board and gain some of those profits that are likely to come in the future. Remember, none of this is financial advice. You always have to do your own research. Please subscribe, hit that notification bell, because you'll be doing me a massive favor, because it really helps the YouTube algorithms. And I saw this tweet from the Quant Network. Our founder and CEO, Gilbert Verdin, has written a chapter about central bank digital currencies for FinExtra's 2023 Future of Payments report. This year's report includes insights from Deutsche Bank, HSBC, ING News, and Societe Generale. And it's quite an important one as well, because some of the information on here is absolutely important. As we can see, central bank digital currencies. Anyone who has ever been involved with a technology project will know that they are notorious for being over time and over budget. We recently completed one that bucks the trend. It has the potential to significantly reshape our underlying monetary system and the nature of currency, creating a slew of opportunities for banks and payment firms to get ahead of the game. Headed by the Bank of International Settlements, London Innovation Hub, Project Rosalind is an experiment involving more than a dozen commercial banks and payment companies. Since June 2022, it has been testing how to safely distribute and settle a retail central bank digital currency issued by the Bank of England. And we have to remember, the Bank of England being part of the UK is the biggest exporter in the world for financial services. So this was always going to be where they were going to lay their foundation. The project specifically looks at public-private sector collaboration model, in which the public sector would issue the currency and provide basic infrastructure, while the private sector worked to produce innovative consumer-facing applications. With our Overledger platform, Quant provided the technology to facilitate interoperability between blockchains and legacy systems, as well as the secure smart contract and tokenization expertise, which served as a foundation for this project. Although the experiment itself was a resounding success, demonstrating, amongst other things, that a CBDC will enable citizens and businesses to automate cumbersome payments and processes and implement logic into money. It would be naive to ignore the fact that banking industry as a whole, and indeed its customers, still have questions, in some cases concerns. The first and most existential challenge is the tendencies for onlookers to ask, why do we need CBDCs anyway? It's a fair question. Many of us are very satisfied with the real-time payments and internet banking offerings already available. The introduction of open banking in recent years has led to the creation of even more convenient payment options. But this overlooks the fact that a key responsibility of any central bank is to make central bank money useful and accessible to citizens. Cash alone is now struggling to fulfill this mandate, given it has become a commonplace for vendors to refuse to accept it. CBDCs are running on blockchains and benefiting from embedded, secure smart contracts are a form of programmable money that could usher in a range of improvements in terms of efficiency, security, and transparency that will benefit banks and their customers. For example, one of the banks participating in Rosalind allowed users to program the CBDCs to create a form of automated escrow. In this use case, a customer would purchase goods from a vendor using CBDC account, though the funds were temporarily held to ensure that sellers and goods were genuine and the money could not simply disappear into the ether, a situation that sadly occurs with thousands of online transactions every day. The courier then acted as a third-party verifier who signaled that the delivery had been successfully accepted and the funds could now be released. In the UK, victims of authorized push payments (APP) fraud paid out more than 500 million to criminals over the past year, with purchase scams making up more than half of this, according to UK Finance. Meanwhile, the payment systems regulator is ushering in new rules which will mean banks must reimburse virtually all victims of APP scams. Imagine how much this fraud could be prevented with the enhanced verification described above, a huge cost savings for banks and one that spares customer and the distress of being scammed. Now, what I found really important was the last two paragraphs of this. The BIS has published an in-depth report on findings from the project. From our perspective, one of the most exciting aspects of CBDCs is the opportunity they present for private sector. CBDCs, together with the other forms of tokenized programmable money, are just a few years away, a few years away, and far from being a threat or a cost to business. They represent a once in a generational opportunity for forward thinking banks and payment firms to differentiate themselves with new products. Now, a few years away. Our advice is to start today, lay the foundation for future payments by ensuring you have the infrastructure in place to tokenize deposits, issue them as smart digital currencies, and integrate. And in due course, with central bank digital currencies, the key is to make this trustworthy and ready for the future. Those that do will seize the lead. Now, that is so important because they're not just talking about CBDCs, they're talking about laying the foundation, because what comes first is the infrastructure, the institutions, then CBDCs later on. So we'll see hopefully some inflow, and this is important, and then we find the rest of the flow will come as CBDCs start to be pushed out. I think this is absolutely awesome, and it's great to see Gilbert starting to really get himself out there in the public, offering up these gems that we all want to hear. We also see, according to a report of the International Monetary Fund, the IMF, majority of central banks in the region are currently evaluating CBDCs. And as we know, what Gilbert just said then, we're talking years now to come in. Latin America leads CBDC adoption, a roadmap for digital finance revolutions. I think they're a test bed for what's coming, and it's looking really interesting. And you can read the report just there. I'm not going to go through the report because I want to give you some homework to do, some of our own research, like looking at Oracle, looking at LackChain, SIA, SIA, UST, and some of the Quant's partnerships, because that way you can learn about the tech, giving you greater knowledge and understanding of how the quant tech actually works, which is so important when understanding when you're investing in digital asset like this. And I think it's important that you go away and you always do your own research on some of the information that's provided to you, because you'll have better knowledge and a better understanding of how the future is being drawn together. Anyhow, this was just a quick bit of news for you. Remember, please subscribe, please hit that notification bell. Remembering none of this is financial advice. Always do your own research. It's really, really important that you do so. Anyhow, thank you very much for your time, and I will catch you later.
Remember, this isn't financial advice. Always do your own research.